G'day guys and gal. The Chaos Gods are the big bads of the setting. They want everyone and everything to either look like a hentai monster, be a hentai monster, kill everything, or have eternal herpes. However, despite this, they don't really get directly involved, like ever. They always use pawns, avatars, demons, everything except themselves to achieve their goals. Now their reasoning for this is fair enough, but it does mean that next to nobody has actually seen them or know what they actually look like. The few times they appear to mortals is generally under a digestible guise, so the mortal they're trying to influence doesn't just, cum their pants and die instantly. However, we aren't mere mortals. We are like the Watchers of 40k, hence we get insights into what nobody else does, including what the Chaos Gods actually look like, although even for me this took a fair bit of investigation. Before we get started, getting jacked is like 30% gym and 60% what you put in your body. The last 10% is sleep. If you want to increase your smashability by getting visible abs, an impressive chest, or just losing that gut, you need to be eating high protein quality food. That creates an issue of convenience and cost, which is why I've partnered up with Factor to fix it. High quality, delicious, and proteiny food is often expensive or takes time to cook, but with Factor, all you gotta do is microwave it and bam! You have delicious food with great macros that only took you like 2 minutes to prepare and clean up afterwards. I've had dozens of you guys message me telling me how well your health journeys have been going since I posted my How to Easily Get Jacked video, and a big point of that video was simplifying the diet and incorporating these microwave meals. At the time, I just said find whatever brand is local and works for you, but fortunately I've actually done that for you today. After all, with Factor, you can literally choose the type of meals you want. Get ready for some value. Using my linking code POGMajorkill130, you'll get over $130 off across 6 boxes. The value gets better the more meals you get per week. This will be the first and most important step to getting your health, your life, back on track. Cheers to Factor for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over what each of the Chaos Gods actually look like, referencing official artwork and in-lore descriptions. As it's pretty common for the Chaos Gods to take multiple forms, looking at you Tzeentch, we will go through each of them and try to determine which one is the most accurate to their true self. Let's get into it. First up, we gotta dispel a bit of a misconception about the Chaos Gods. Some people think the Chaos Gods don't have physical forms, and aren't even sentient, just malicious energy that is made up of negative emotion. This is completely false. The Chaos Gods are individual sentient beings. They can be petty, they can make mistakes, and they can have physical forms. This is proven in a number of ways. Firstly, the fact that Khane battled Slaanesh and Khorne means they must have forms, as Khane very much has a coherent physical body. As they fought in the warp, they probably looked a lot spicier than they would in real space, but the point remains. The Changeling also put a Nurgling on Khorne's throne, which he popped like a whoopee cushion when he sat on it, and you can't sit on shit if you don't have a physical ass. Skarbrand was banished because he smacked Khorne. You can't smack a concept or malicious non-sentient energy. There are dozens of examples of Chaos Gods interacting with physical things that would require them to have a tangible form to interact with. In saying that though, some Chaos Gods are much more physical and understandable than others when it comes to their form. We'll start off with Khorne, as this dude is a straight up rootin' tootin' cowboy shootin' demon god. Khorne is depicted in one of two ways, either as this humanoid obsidian knight, this heavily armored warrior that is fairly straightforward and easy to comprehend. This is common with fan renditions of him, however this isn't actually very close to the mark for a few reasons. Firstly, demons, especially greater demons, are generally created in the image of their god, as they are literal shards of their god. They don't have to look like their god, but it's generally a pretty good guide to follow. Secondly, when Khorne blesses his champions, they don't become these glowy black armored knights, they get fleshy, corrupted, bulging muscles. That's why this artwork is pretty much exactly what Khorne looks like, a satanic demon god with huge horns, wings, and fleshy bulk. Also, it helps that this is official artwork of Khorne and his realm. This is further backed up by his rendition in Total War Warhammer 3, which is an officially licensed Warhammer product, which also has been expanding the lore of Warhammer Fantasy and is considered to be mostly canon since the rest of the setting is dead as fuck. As the Chaos Gods have the same form and vibe in both 40k and fantasy, I would argue this applies to both settings. We can actually take this a step further by going into the game files for Total War Warhammer 3, showing us what Khorne looks like without the haze and silhouette, and bam! That is official art of Khorne, which closely matches the original artwork we showed. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, we have Khorne. Next up is Nurgle, and he is pretty much just as easy, if not more easy to define as Khorne is, in regards to how he looks. Nurgle is described as basically just being a massive great unclean one, which in this instance, the fan artists absolutely nail. This makes sense, as since Nurgle loves all of his children, except Mortarion, that fucking naughty moth, he would be happy to create them in his image. Even the pathetic Nurglings look a lot like Nurgle. We can back this up further by using the same game file technique as Khorne, showing him to be a chunky boy. Funnily enough, despite Nurgle's armies being some of the best out of Chaos, always seemingly to be the hardest to defeat, he is the weakest individual god, preferring to sacrifice his own power to create more demons. This has actually worked in his favour overall. Like the other Chaos gods, Nurgle can also appear as an eye, for when he wants people to know he's staring at them, without making their eyes explode into a swarm of flies. Now it gets a bit more tricky with Slaanesh. Slaanesh likes to change its appearance, gender, or shape depending on who's looking at it. A fat kid might see an ice cream with a vagina. An asexual nerd might see classic World of Warcraft. I'd see myself with 5 tits. When Fabius saw Slaanesh, he saw a vast constellation, eyes that peered into his soul. He was actually able to resist Slaanesh and deny her godhood, which was very impressive, as it said that whoever looks upon Slaanesh's true form will become instantly corrupted. This wasn't his true form, so she was safe to look at, but still a good effort. As Slaanesh is technically an Eldar god as well as a Chaos god, you'd expect to see Eldar features like the ones we see on the Elder gods such as Khane. This is why Slaanesh and his demons are agile, fast, and cunning. They mirror the Eldar in some way. Using the same methods as before, with the Total Warhammer files, we can see that Slaanesh is a poorly drawn keeper of secrets, which could be his true form, as that is how her greater demons look. Or maybe this is like a vicious combat form, the form that it would have taken when it fought Khane. Age of Sigma actually comes in clutch here, having official artwork of the imprisoned comatose Slaanesh. Although it's just a silhouette, you can see that it is clearly a massive keeper of secrets based on its crab claw hands and appendages on its upper back. This would have to be its true form, as it is imprisoned and asleep, meaning it can't just change forms to try seduce anyone. So poorly drawn Slaanesh is actually what she looks like, which sucks because sexy horny Slaanesh is much easier to beat the meat to. Tzeentch is by far the hardest to nail down what he looks like. Funnily enough, the fan art here could easily be considered the most canon, purely because Tzeentch could look like that in one of its transformations it would take to commune with mortals without turning them into vegetables. You don't get the name Changer of Ways if you have one constant unchanging form. Even the Total War Warhammer file technique doesn't help much here. Tzeentch is represented as a bunch of eyes staring at you, and there isn't even a clear PNG to take apart like there was for the other Chaos gods. His feathery greater demons, the Lords of Change, are also poor reference points, as Tzeentch has never been described as being avian or beaked. None of his appearances have involved those elements at all. A lot of his depictions involve tentacles, which you'd think Slaanesh would try claim, but no. Apparently Tzeentch gets them. This comes from the fact that his followers often mutate with tentacles, but none of his demons really seem to go down that path. So I think it's just fan artists trying to really show off the eldritch horror aspect of Tzeentch. Funnily enough, you know that YouTube video where a digital artist creates what angels would look like according to the Bible? That is more so what Tzeentch would look like, but make it like a lot weirder. Fortunately, we do have one description of Tzeentch which we can form somewhat of an understanding out of. During one of the Ahriman books, Tzeentch and his closest advisors have a meeting. It's very trippy, as the meeting place is both considered real and false, a physical place but also an idea and metaphor. Lords of Change are debating whether or not Ahriman is a liability or asset. Then Tzeentch chimes in and hold your balls because his description is fucking cooked. He is a being made up of infinite mouths, tongues, and fangs. Imagine all those trippy visual illusions, then throw them all in as well. He's also surrounded by a powerful aura of chaotic magic. However, the description basically states that it has no true solid form, always changing and melding. The lore also states that you cannot comprehend its form as a mortal, so for us it'd be like trying to describe what a new unseen color looks like. I bet Creative Assembly had like hour-long meetings being like, alright, we've got Khorne, Nurgle, and Slaanesh artwork done, easy peasy. What the fuck do we do for Tzeentch? Before deciding that a cool constellation of eyes worked pretty well, and yeah, it does. The main takeaway here though is that despite not having a solid form, Tzeentch still has physical being. No matter how fucky he gets or how many blowjobs he can give simultaneously, he isn't beyond tangibility. At the end of the day, the Chaos Gods aren't supposed to be locked down into one understandable form. They are supposed to be beyond understanding, trippy and mysterious. If you see Khorne as an Obsidian Knight, then he is an Obsidian Knight. If you want Slaanesh to be a fuckable waifu, then no worries. And if you want to lease one of Tzeentch's mouths for $1 per month, then join my Patreon. Me and the Changer have an understanding. Nurgle is and will always be a fat piece of shit though. No metaphors there. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then buy the cosplay calendar. We've run out of the signed A4 version, but there is still a handful of signed A3 ones available. Calendar has 12 cosplays, 4, or if you include myself, 5 sexy models, all of whom, including myself, have their tits out. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more tangible content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.